If you've been searching for a job and companies feel like they're moving painfully slow, or interviews feel cautious or overly procedural, maybe you've got all of the qualifications and they can't seem to make a decision, or suddenly things just stall out for no clear reason. It's not your imagination. Right now, many employers are pretty cautious and avoiding risk when it comes to hiring. And that mindset is shaping everything from job postings to interview processes to why strong candidates keep getting passed over. Why does it seem like employers are afraid to make a move? And more importantly, how can we adjust our strategy to get hired even in the midst of what seems like overcaution? Because although hiring has slowed, it hasn't stopped, but the rules have changed. This behavior isn't random. It's actually structural and really somewhat intentional. Let me explain. There are several main influences that are impacting this hiring dynamic right now. Let's unpack them. First, let's be honest. Companies are always focused on their P&L or their profit and loss. In our current economic landscape, many businesses are hyper-focused on P&L and not so much on building teams. Instead of investing in building teams and growing headcount, they're often just tightening up. And this is really for a couple of reasons. Number one, because of uncertainty and dropping sales and revenues. Some companies are feeling the pinch, and consequently, they're cutting their costs. In a healthy market, hiring has often been viewed as an investment. In a strained economic scenario like we're in right now, hiring can be viewed as a liability. And this leads us to point number two. Quite frankly, a number of companies, they aren't cutting their costs because of a lack of profits or maybe fear of the future. Quite honestly, they're positioning themselves for their shareholders and keeping what is typically the greatest expense, headcount, hiring people, at a minimum. And they're restructuring using AI and automation whenever possible. And this leads us to how this is unfolding behind the scenes when you are dealing with hiring managers. When companies are operating with tighter budgets or oversight on headcount, the approval process and accountability for hiring outcomes becomes substantially more monitored. In practical terms, it means a hiring manager may feel that the wrong hire could reflect on them. And quite honestly, many times they are just as concerned about hanging on to their jobs as well. Instead of them thinking, who's the best hire? They may think, who's the safest person to explain internally? That environment can reward predictability or safety, maybe over perhaps capability. People with broad or nonlinear experience who have changed roles or industries might not communicate predictability. Or in some circumstances, maybe a person who shows strong independence or strong judgment, or maybe brings even challenging ideas instead of just compliance. None of these are really a weakness, but to a cautious hiring manager, they can be interpreted as uncertainty. And uncertainty can get labeled as risk. This could be why you feel like you're getting so close, but never really able to quite cross the finish line. No question, with the number of applicants per job, employers have their pick. Very often, they're going to have multiple candidates that match their requirements. But even in light of that, managers know that their decisions are being watched and the results are being measured and scrutinized. So in many cases, instead of moving quickly, they're careful. They may ask for more interviews, more assessments. And why? Because they can be choosy, but they also want to minimize the risk of a wrong hire. But for the hiring manager, this goes beyond having to answer for the wrong hire. A bad hire has always been expensive, but right now it could be amplified for some teams because some teams are already running extremely lean and there's less margin for error. They may have less time for ramp up or learning curves. And because they're being squeezed, a hiring manager who who hires the wrong person today doesn't just lose time. They may actually risk missing their targets and being viewed with maybe poor judgment. This can be one reason why you see job descriptions that often read like maybe a unicorn wish list. Here's an important paradigm shift that we need to consider as applicants. We need to consider how we not only present ourselves as a high potential candidate, but also position ourselves as a low risk decision. In other words, we need to clearly connect our past results with their current problems. If there's ambiguity in how we explain our experience, we need to work on clearing that up. And the more that you can be clear how you can make your ramp up feel fast and predictable, the more that you will put them at ease in moving forward with you. No more generic resumes or maybe vague interview answers, merely saying, I'm adaptable. It just won't cut it anymore. If you're feeling a bit stuck in your job search right now, it's important to understand that you didn't suddenly become less qualified. The playing field has shifted, and many people are still playing by the old rules, as if they're still on the old playing field. Risk-averse hiring doesn't mean no hiring. It means we need to understand the process behind the curtain and respond strategically. If you want more direct help in your job search, you can find more information about my courses and my coaching at careeriq.biz. And if this has been helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, maybe share the video. And while you're here, drop a comment down below and tell me how things are going in your experience. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time.